Hello listeners, welcome to my channel Aditya FM. Every story you hear is an invitation to see the world and yourself a bit differently. Let's begin. Have you ever wondered why not every victory makes a person stronger? Or not every failure makes a person weaker? The greatest transformation often happens where no one is looking. Long before the world notices a change, something invisible has already begun to grow. Every choice leaves a mark, either on the world around us or within the person we are becoming. The question is, what are our daily choices quietly building inside us? Every moral action plants another flower inside the unseen garden. As the virtues multiply, emotional intelligence quietly grows. With greater emotional intelligence comes clearer judgment. With clearer judgment comes a calmer mind. A calmer mind gradually cleans the soul of fear, greed, hatred, arrogance, envy, and endless cravings. And then a cleaner soul experiences deeper inner satisfaction. And from that inner satisfaction arises a profound connection with the universe itself. The saints often reminded every generation the purpose of life is not merely survival, it is to multiply goodness wherever you walk. Every act of care purified both the individual and the society. It is always stronger character. If you have a disciplined mind, no one can deceive you. If you truly love yourself, you can easily identify the fake love. No manipulation can control a person guided by wisdom, and no darkness for sure can permanently conquer a colony that keeps multiplying light. Let us understand this with a story narrated by me. Far beyond mountains, where no maps existed, lay the Valley of Zirel Dust. The valley belonged to millions of ants. Every grain of sand was earned through labor. Every tunnel represented sacrifice. Every food storage reflected preparation for difficult seasons. No ant was rich, no ant was poor. Every ant simply carried responsibility. Among them lived workers, builders, explorers, nurses, guards, teachers, healers, and gatherers. Their strength never came from muscle, it came from unity. Predators feared enter their lands because thousands of tiny efforts became one unstoppable force. Meanwhile, beneath a dark hill nearby lived another species, the beetles. They admired the ants' prosperity but despised their independence. The beetles understood a dangerous truth. Destroying an army from outside required power. Destroying it from inside required psychology. The second path was easier. The beetles observed the ant for many seasons. They noticed something. No external attack could defeat the colony. Food stores remained full, children were protected, knowledge passed from generation to generation. The queen was respected but never worshipped. Responsibility was shared. The beetles abandoned the idea of war. Instead, they chose confusion. Their first target was the future. Female ants nurtured eggs, taught young ants discipline, preserved memories, and maintained emotional balance. If they disappeared, future generations would weaken. The beetles quietly began capturing isolated female ants. Some vanished, Some returned frightened, some never returned. Fear slowly entered the colony. The beetles then studied the male ants. Strong, hardworking, protective, loyal. Direct attacks failed, so invisible attacks began. Rumors spread like fungus after rain. Male ants started hearing strange stories. Food shortages and hidden storage were blamed on female ants. Failure in gathering were blamed on female ants. Small misunderstandings grew into silent distance. Distance became suspicion. Suspicion weakened trust. Without realizing it, ants stopped solving problems together. The beetles celebrated. An army divided against itself required no army. The beetles discovered another weakness: pleasure without effort. They introduced fermented fruit juices. At first, only exhausted ants accepted them. The drink created temporary happiness. Pain disappeared briefly. Responsibilities felt lighter. The next day, exhaustion doubled. So, another drink was needed. Soon, many male ants stopped waking early. Some forgot gathering roots, some abandoned patrol duty, some lost interest in protecting tunnels. The beetles themselves never consumed these substances. Their own laws forbade it. Clear minds ruled, clouded minds obeyed. The beetles remained disciplined while encouraging chaos in others. Food collection slowed, storage rooms emptied, blame increased. Instead of asking how to produce more, ants argued over distribution. Some expected others to carry extra weight, some expected endless sacrifices. Dependency quietly replaced responsibility. The colony weakened. No earthquake had struck, no flood had arrived, no predator attacked. Yet collapse had begun because internal neglect destroys faster than external violence. These beetles approached isolated female ants with kindness. Fake help, attention, protection, gifts appeared. Every favor secretly demanded another favor. Tiny obligation became hidden chains. Some female ants found themselves trapped by fear. Private mistakes were used against them. Embarrassment became leverage. Freedom slowly disappeared. Many remained physically present in the colony but emotionally belonged elsewhere. The beetles needed no prisons. Fear built invisible cages. Male ants grew restless. Female ants grew distant. Children sensed tension. Young ants learned mistrust instead of cooperation. The valley became quieter. Celebrations disappeared. Work became mechanical. Hope faded. The beetles had nearly completed their plan. No battlefield existed, yet victory approached. One old explorer returned after years of wandering. He noticed strange patterns. Healthy ants accepted harmful things without inspection. Lonely ants trusted strangers. Exhausted ants surrendered judgment. Greedy ants abandoned patience. The explorer observed that extreme hunger made creatures consume garbage. Not only stomach hunger, emotional hunger, recognition hunger, power hunger, validation hunger, every uncontrolled appetite became an open gate. Those who paused survived, those who grabbed suffered. A few young ants began studying events instead of reacting. Every conflict somehow benefited beetles. Every addiction enriched beetles. Every disappearance strengthened beetles. Every rumor divided ants. Nothing happened randomly. Chaos had structure. The realization spread quietly. The enemy was not merely outside, the enemy entered through weakness. One morning, thousands of ants ignored the fermented fruit. No one collected it, no one stirred it, no one traded it, no one tasted it. Without consumers, the poison lost power. The beetles waited, no ants arrived. They increased supply, still no ants arrived. Discipline proved stronger than temptation. The first chain broke. Another transformation followed. Every ant returned to personal responsibility. Builders built new homes with focus. Teachers taught with love. Scouts explored. Healers healed with care. No ant waited for rescue. No ant demanded another carry unnecessary burdens. Each completed personal duty before expecting help. The colony slowly healed. Clean tunnels replaced the dirty ones. Stored food replaced the complaints. Action replaced blame. Karma became cleanup. Every honest effort repaired yesterday's neglect. As the colony slowly recovered, another discovery emerged. The beetles had not only attacked food, trust, and discipline, they had quietly benefited from the confusion already growing inside the colony. For many seasons, some elder ants had unknowingly taught young female ants that their greatest purpose was merely to seek approval, companionship, or external validation. Very little time had been devoted to helping them discover their own higher purpose. Few were taught how to strengthen their mind. Few learned emotional discipline. Few understood that a meaningful life is built through knowledge, service, inner growth, and contribution. Without a greater purpose, many wandered through life searching for identity. An aimless heart became easy to tempt. When loneliness became their direction instead of wisdom, counterfeit affection suddenly appeared valuable. The beetles rarely needed force, they simply waited for emptiness. An empty mind eventually searches for someone else to complete it. The beetles only offered the illusion. Not every elder had forgotten. Deep within the valley lived a group of old saint ants. They observed quietly for many years before finally sharing what earlier generation had neglected. They explained that true protection never begins during adulthood. It begins during childhood, when ants were still young. While curiosity shaped their mind, they encouraged a different education. Young female ants occasionally learned the responsibility traditionally carried by grown male ants. Young male ants occasionally learn the responsibilities traditionally carried by grown female ants. Neither group abandoned their natural future duties. Instead, each learned the effort hidden behind the other's responsibilities. Respect replaced assumptions, empathy replaced pride, and understanding replaced competition. Future husbands no longer underestimated invisible labor. Future wives no longer misunderstood difficult responsibilities carried outside the nest. Mutual respect became stronger than endless arguments. The saints believed that cooperation grows naturally when both sides understand sacrifice. The saint also noticed another forgotten lesson. Many young male ants had grown without being introduced to the colony's oldest traditions. The honor of protecting others, the dignity of responsibility, the joy found in serving something larger than oneself. Accountability looked frightening. Commitment felt like imprisonment. The beetles welcomed this confusion. A generation afraid of responsibility required very little manipulation. The saint ants patiently restored these teachings. Young males no longer saw duty as a burden. They saw it as evidence that the colony trusted them. Strength was no longer measured by domination. It was measured by reliability. A dependable ant became the strongest ant. The female ants also transformed themselves. Instead of searching endlessly for affection, they poured their energy into becoming extraordinary. They learned, built, created, explored, healed, taught, meditated, studied the stars, strengthened their bodies, strengthened their minds, strengthened their character. Their days became so filled with meaningful work and self-development that little room remained for false promises. A person whose mind is deeply engaged in growth rarely gets trapped by shallow attention. Purpose exhausted temptation. Discipline silenced desperation. When genuine fulfillment grew inside, counterfeit love lost its attraction. Many female ants eventually became respected explorers, teachers, scientists, healers, architects, and leaders whose wisdom benefited the entire valley. Their value no longer depended upon being chosen by someone else. It emerged from who they had become. Years later, the young ants asked why the old tunnels still contained broken chains, abandoned barrels, and strange beetle symbols. The elders smiled. The beetles never defeated us through strength. Beetles succeeded whenever we forgot who we were. They taught the next generation that every ant carries two gardens. One is visible and the other exists within. The invisible garden is cultivated through devotion, honesty, perseverance, compassion, courage, gratitude, discipline, patience, humility, responsibility, and service. From that generation onward, the Valley of Zirel Dust flourished. Not because its enemies disappeared, but because its ants remembered that the highest purpose of every life is to grow in virtue, elevate others, and through that journey draw ever closer to the infinite source from which all goodness flows.